Hello, everyone, and welcome. We will get started in a few minutes. Welcome to those that have just joined us. We're going to get started in just a minute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Faculty of Science virtual open house. For the next hour, we're going to spend some time and talk about our honors BSc and LLB Sussex Law program. My name is Julie, and I am the manager of the Sussex program here at Wilfrid Laurier University. Also with me today is Maureen, the manager of academic advising from the Faculty of Science. Maureen will be speaking to us today about the BSc side of the degree. Cassandra, our Sussex coordinator, is here. She is going to be on the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll look at responding to those throughout the presentation. And from the University of Sussex, we have Luis, a Senior International Recruitment Officer of the Americas. And you'll hear from Luis when he talks about the Sussex side of the program. So what we're going to talk about in the next hour, I'll provide a program overview. We will talk about the Laurier side, so you'll get a sense of what the program looks like with your 3 years at Laurier. Luis will talk to you about the University of Sussex and the LLB. I'll give you a brief overview of where we are now in the program. I will talk about program strengths, and then we'll open things up to questions. So let's begin first with the admission requirements for the program. Now I just see here, we've got a poll put up. Thank you, Cass, for the reminder. So if you don't mind, just quickly filling out the poll. Today's session is very much focused on the honors BSc. We've had other sessions. Yesterday, we did a Faculty of Arts session. Last week, we did a couple for the Brantford campus. So this program, we have a number of streams available. We have the one stream with science, with our honors science stream, but we also have 6 BA streams. So political science and philosophy at our Waterloo campus, and humanities and leadership foundation, human rights and human diversity, law and society and criminology on our Brantford campus. So if you don't mind just filling in that poll, that would be great. We'll just get a sense of who's here and what streams you're interested in. So I'll talk quickly about the BSc admission requirements for the program. We are looking at a minimum admission range in the low 80s. The competitive admission range based on last year's admitted students was low 90s. And what that means is that those students who were admitted into the program, their average was in the low 90s. So even though a low 80s is what they may have needed to get into the program, the average was much higher in that low 90s. You are looking at a 60% in advanced functions, 60% in biology, 60% in chemistry, and a minimum 70% in your English. So those 4 courses will be used plus 2 more grades, and that will determine your average. If you have any admissions questions, I would ask that if you would please reach out to Choose Laurier at wlu.ca. They will be able to answer any questions that you may have about admission into the program. So I'll give you just a program overview and what the program looks like. So we're looking at a 6-year program. You are going to do 2 years at Laurier, and you're going to start in your honors science stream, and you're going to complete 2 years at Laurier. You're then going to do 3 years at the University of Sussex. And then you're going to do 1 year back at Laurier. So it's 6 years total, with that 2 years at Laurier, 3 years at Sussex, and 1 year back at Laurier. So you're going to get 2 degrees. Laurier is going to award you that Honor Science BSc, and the University of Sussex is going to award you your LLB. Because you're doing your law degree outside of Canada, there is no LSAT that is required to study law in the UK. With this program and with our partnership, you are guaranteed an offer of admission to the University of Sussex if you've met the GPA requirements. So if you have met your B average after first year and after second year, then you have a guaranteed offer of admission to the University of Sussex. We'll talk in depth about the international experience in the UK and how it's definitely something that the students in the program, one of the things they absolutely enjoy is the fact that they know they're going abroad for 3 years, and we'll talk about that in some more detail later. We'll also talk about the support that you're going to get with the accreditation process. So in that year 6, when you return to Canada, when you return to Laurier, we are going to help you go through that accreditation process so that your foreign law degree is recognized here in Canada. I'm going to turn things over to Maureen, who is going to talk to you about the honor science portion of the degree.
Thank you, Julie. On behalf of the Faculty of Science, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone that's here today to hear about our BSc Honors Science in combination with the Sussex LLB. We began discussions regarding a BSc option for the Sussex LLB program a number of years ago, and the rationale was really twofold. One is the industry demand for lawyers to have that science education background. And secondly, we have students who are very interested in studying the scientific disciplines as part of their undergraduate program. So the obvious choice for the Faculty of Science was to select our Honors BSc Science program, as it is our most flexible program. So it's going to provide students with a broad-based science education, so you can pursue your interests across a variety of scientific disciplines. It is highly flexible in that a student can select from diverse course offerings for their career aspirations in their senior years of study. Next slide, Julie. So in terms of your first year of study, because we have students coming from a variety of backgrounds into the Faculty of Science in general, they may be from Ontario, they may be from across Canada or international. The way we design our programs is to provide students with foundational courses across the disciplines in their first year of study. And so in the first year of the Honors BSc Science program, a student will complete 1 credit in biology, 1 credit in chemistry, 1 credit in calculus, and then they can select their 2 additional credits of study from psychology, physics, computer science, or physical geography and geology. And this will provide the scientific foundation for students to be selecting their senior science courses. Next slide. So in year 2 of the program, all of our students would select a half credit of statistics, as it is a requirement, but the additional 4.5 credits, which is 9 additional courses, are senior science courses of a student's choosing. So this is where we have the flexibility for students to select from scientific disciplines, including biology, chemistry, computer science, data science, physical geography, human biology, mathematics, physics, psychology, statistics, and water science. So it's the flexibility to allow a student to follow their particular interests with respect to their career aspirations. And let's look at some examples. So depending on the type of law that you may be interested in terms of your career, I've given you some sample courses for some science-based law. So for example, a student interested in environmental law may select courses such as environmental atmospheric chemistry, global issues in water and environmental health, environmental toxicology, water policy, and legislation. So you can select the courses of interest to prepare for that career pathway. Healthcare law would be popular. We have a variety of courses in biology, health sciences, chemistry, and so forth to support an interest in healthcare and perhaps medical malpractice law, should you be interested. Biotechnology law would be another area of interest for selecting from our biotechnology program courses, including molecular biology and genetics, biochemistry, recombinant DNA technology, and a variety of microbiology courses. Intellectual property law is under great demand. So as an example, I selected computer law. So you can select from a variety of senior science, computer science courses, such as ethics and professional practice in computer science, applied cryptography, e-commerce, and data analytics there. So a variety of courses that you can select from depending on the type of law that you're most interested in. Next slide. So that would be year 2, where you'd be selecting 4.5 senior science credits. Years 3 through 5 would take place at the University of Sussex, and we'll get into more detail regarding those years. And then when you return to Laurier in year 6, you'd be taking an additional 3 credits, which is 6 courses of senior sciences at the 300 or 400 level. In addition, you would have 2.5 credits, which includes courses that prepare you for the accreditation exams. And I'm going to turn it back over to Julie to give you a little bit more detail about those particular courses.
Thanks, Maureen. So in that year 6, you will take 5 courses that are offered here at Laurier that are going to help you prepare for the accreditation exams. So the National Committee on Accreditation, they are a body that is it is regulated so that your foreign law degree, when you're coming back here in Canada, it is recognized by you passing those exams. So currently there's 5 mandatory exams that you have to write through the NCA. And we have courses that are taught by lawyers that are going to work through that curriculum with the NCA syllabus so that you can write those 5 exams and go through that accreditation process. So we've built that into year 6 of the program. So they're 4 credit courses. They will be completed in that first term when you come back here at Laurier. So you get those accreditation exams completed, and then you would be spending your other half of the year going through the requirements to finish your science degree. In looking at the Laurier side and your first 2 years, this program is very much an open door in that you have the first 2 years to decide if you want to go over to Sussex. So we want you in your first 2 years to really make a decision and make an informed decision of whether or not, you want to be studying law, you want to be studying law abroad, the University of Sussex, if that's for you. So in this program, it's much easier to start in the program and transition out in years 1 or 2 than try to transition after first year. So if you're sort of thinking, I'm interested in honor science, I'm interested in law, I think this might be for me, it's much easier to start in that program. And if you decide, I would like to stay at Laurier, I want to finish my degree, you can easily move out of the program and continue on with your degree. I spend a lot of time with students to make sure that they're meeting the degree requirements. It is an accelerated degree. We're going to do an honors degree in 3 years instead of 4 years. And the way we're doing this is that we're going to take 5 credits from your time over at Sussex, and we're going to apply it to your honors degree here. So we want to make sure that you're on track. You're completing those classes that you need to in your first and second year, so that when we return in year 6, we're going to have those degree requirements met. We also make sure there's lots of touch points to make sure that you're meeting the GPA requirements. So after your first term at university, we'll be reaching out, talking to you about your GPA, making sure that things are on track. We'll do that again with you after your first year and partway through your second year. So you're going to get a lot of help along the way to make sure that you're meeting those not only course requirements, but also GPA requirements. Before you get over to Sussex, you're going to have access to people from Sussex. And so we have a great partnership with the university. And we hope very soon that we'll be welcoming our friends and colleagues at the University of Sussex back here on campus. So not uncommon that they would visit throughout the year. We can do things virtually, so we'll have webinars and we'll have meet and greet sessions. So the head of the law school has been here, a Canadian faculty member, Luis, who's here on the call, as well as his colleague, Kasia. So there's access to representatives from Sussex throughout your first 2 years here at Laurier. Again, so you can meet some of those people and see some of those faces that you're going to see once you're over there in the UK. We have a number of student meetings during our first 2 years so that students, again, are making that decision of whether or not, this is for me and this is something I want to do. We spend a lot of time with students in their second year, making sure that they're really comfortable with the idea of studying abroad and studying at the University of Sussex. So we hold webinars on finances, the visa process. What does campus look like at Sussex? What are the different residence options? What is it like to live in the UK? The UK is different from Canada, and let's talk about some of those differences before we go over. We also have active student associations on both our Waterloo and our Brantford campus, and they're student-led clubs, and they have events for students to meet each other. I know last night in Waterloo, the students held an event where they had mocktails at home, and it was just a chance to sit around for an hour or two and get to know one another. So they'll hold study sessions and socials, and it's important that the students in this program know each other before they go over. And what's really important is building that cohort experience. And speaking with students who have now traveled over to England, they would say to me, one of their fears was that they would go over and not know anyone before they landed in the UK. And I would say now that we're in 6 years of the program, students absolutely know other students in the program before they go over. There's some familiar faces. There are students coming from both campuses, and that cohort experience, it starts here at Laurier, and I find it very much continues over at Sussex. And Luis will talk about some of the law societies that exist at Sussex, which again sort of build that cohort experience from one institution to the other. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Luis, who is going to speak to you about the University of Sussex.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis. I'm from Venezuela. I came many years ago to study at the University of Sussex. Similar to you, I came to do my second degree, and I absolutely loved it. So the idea of this presentation, actually, I am also half of the Americas team. So lovely Kasia, you will see soon enough, and you will meet her hopefully in Wilfrid. And we are here to help you with anything you need. So as I was saying before, I came to do my second degree in the UK, and I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing experience. So I really want you, and this is from one international student to another, this is not only an opportunity for you to study law, this is an opportunity to have an international experience, to get to know another culture, and to meet people from all around the world. The most amazing thing about studying for me in the UK, I was able to meet the world at Sussex, and that is amazing. Okay, and that will change your life. So the presentation, I'm going to talk about how Sussex, or why Sussex is an amazing option for you. I'm talking about the fantastic city of Brighton, that's where we are located, and I share a little bit of my student experience with you guys and what Sussex has to offer. So to start with, we are located in the southeast of the UK. You can see that's where we are. The UK is a very, very small country. It's 41 times smaller than Canada. It's actually smaller than Ontario. However, the building where I live now is 400 years old. So here we'd say 100 kilometers is a long way, 100 years is a very short period of time. And that is part of the culture, is part of the experience. Meeting people with very strange accents is also part of it. So it is an amazing experience, and it will absolutely change your life. This is a picture of the university looking north, looking towards London. As I said before, we're in the southeast of the UK. We are a small, medium-sized university with 17,000 students. Of those, we have about 270 Canadians at the university. Of those, 130 are new, and the large majority are studying law. We have 140 different countries in Sussex. So you have people for over 140 countries, and that is amazing. I will talk about accommodation later on, but when I was at university in my first year, my housemates were one from Japan, one from Russia, one from Nigeria, one from Sweden, 2 Americans, and 3 Brits. And it was an amazing experience. And I'm still in contact with them. You are now as well in social media is present now. You can keep in touch, and it will help you. It will help you as well in the future to get a job. A few years ago, one of my friends offered me a job in Saudi Arabia. And that is part of experience to study in such an international university. We're also very research-focused university. We don't have teachers, we have academics who teach. So all of them are involved in research, they work with NGOs, they work with government, they work with industry. And that is what makes Sussex an amazing university, an amazing experience. We are very, very well known for international development. We have it ranked for 5 years the best university in the world. To put that in perspective, Harvard is number 2. So if you're interested in human rights or environmental or gender or international relations, it's an amazing university to be. Also, you can, for example, in your last year, which I will talk in a bit about that, you can do your dissertation can be interdisciplinary. So it can be between 2 departments. And that is an amazing experience as well. We are top 50 in the world for our research, our impact in the research we do. We're top 50 in the world for social science, and top 30 in the UK for law. So you're coming to a great university academically wise, but also in experience. 3 weeks ago, we were chosen the best university in the world for student diversity. More than 100,000 students were asked to talk about the universities when it comes from people from different backgrounds, and that includes age, culture, countries, gender, and special needs. And the University of Sussex came out of 1,000 universities, the best one. So you're not only coming to a great academic experience, you're also coming to a fantastic student experience. And that is important. That is, then you feel welcome and you feel, that this is also your home. It's an amazing experience, and it will make an amazing difference. Law at Sussex. So our years is slightly different. As you know, LLB, we don't have JDs in the UK, we call them LLB. So that's the name of the degree. All degrees in the UK are 3 years law. The LLB is no exception. Every year has 120 credits. Okay, so that is how the year is, divided. So in your first year, all your modules, your A modules are going to be core. So you don't have to really choose modules. This is your first year, and those are the 8 different modules you are going to see. In your second year, you have 6 core modules, but you will have 2 elective. So you may have between 30 and 40 free credits, and then you can choose the modules. They can be worth 15 credits, 10 credits, 25, 30, or 60, which is usually your dissertation. So you will have these 6, 3 and 3, 3 in semester 1, 3 in semester 2, and then you have the 2 elective. And in the third year, the good news is everything is an elective. It's completely up to you. You can make year 3 your own. If you want to, specialize in an area, that's up to you. If you want to do a little bit of everything, that's completely up to you. And that is the amazing thing about year 3. You have completely freedom to choose where you specialize. We have some modules who are very popular with Canadian students. We have Canadian administrative law, which is very, very popular. The same with Aboriginal law, which is actually taught by a Canadian teacher. We also have another module, which is very, very popular, which is clinical legal education. In that, if you take that module, you will have the opportunity to get real experience with one of our 6 law clinics. In that happening is you will have the opportunity to work in real cases with usually through charities or through the city council. Then they help citizens or people who live in Brighton who cannot pay a lawyer. And the students come and help them. You always have an academic with you, helping you and looking over the case. But sometimes you may get into, the case goes big and you may get into court. For example, this year we have an amazing example of a mom who got fired from her job during the pandemic. A student got her case. He had to represent him in court, and he won the case. And that is amazing. It's an amazing experience. You not only you're doing something to help people who need help, but you're actually getting and improving your CV. And that is a fantastic experience to have. We also run, we have a meeting room, and you can see that in the picture. We run plenty of competitions internally and nationally. So last year, the winner of the meeting competition at Sussex was a Wilfrid Laurier student. And the last time we won the two national meeting competitions were in 2018, one of them a Canadian, which was the McKay Cup Canadian meeting competition. And the idea is you can do all of these while you're studying. We have 3 law societies. We have the Law Society, which is basically helps you with cases, with finding a job, with the meeting competitions. We have the Canadian Law Society, who does the same, but they also do some, social things like Thanksgiving dinner. So it's something they organize, and it's all Canadian. It's an amazing. I really recommend you to please to join that society. And we have the NCA Society, who will help you as well with the exam. Our fees are around 31,000 Canadian dollars a year. This is as yesterday, so always be aware of the exchange because it may change. So, but that is more or less what it costs. And because the amazing relationship we have with Laurier, we offer you a 15% discount during your first year of degree. Okay, and that's part of the partnership that we have. You come to the first year already with a second year, with 2 years degree on you. So you have an advantage. And usually, Wilfrid Laurier students actually do better than our first students during the first year. So you have a responsibility because at the moment, the university, and this is the academics, are in love with the Wilfrid Laurier students because of the grades, how you're more mature, you're participate, and it's fantastic. And they absolutely, there's nothing you can ask, and the university won't try to do because we really, really are super proud and super happy to have you in our campus. Now, talking about university life. So what is university life? I'm going to start with a very, very common question, which is accommodation. So we have more than 6,000 rooms in campus, and you are guaranteed accommodation during your first year if you apply on time. Okay, half of them are in suites, so you have your own bathroom. The other, you share the bathroom. It's completely up to you. However, if you want an in-suite, usually that's the case, you have to apply as soon as possible because those are the first room that go. I always live in a shared bathroom, and I didn't have any problems. All accommodation is self-catered, so you don't have to, we don't have kind of a dining service. We have restaurants and we have supermarket on campus, but you have to do your own cooking, and that is also an amazing way to make friends. Please learn how to cook. It is when I was living in my first house, every Friday someone else cooked. So in my case of Venezuela, I did arepas. The Japanese guy taught us all to do sushi, and it was an amazing night, and everyone was loving sushi, so everyone waited for his Friday, and it's an amazing way to make friends. Of course, you have the option to stay off campus. That's completely up to you. However, I recommend during the first year to stay with us. It's much easier. Everyone is a student. It's easier to make friends. And then in the second and third year, what is going to happen? You go house hunting. So you have your best mates, and you go to town and start hunting for a house, and you get the house of your dreams with your best mates, and hopefully it will even, it will improve your whole experience with Sussex and Brighton. We have more than 280 societies on the university, so any hobby you can imagine, we have it. And if you don't have it, you can create one society and do it. And it's an amazing way, not only to get to know people from different nationalities and different accents, but to make friends. And believe it or not, and I'm going to give it in a moment an example, it will help you to your CV and to get a job. Okay, joining a society and having fun will help you to get a job. We also have sport clubs. It's the same thing. Of course, football here, I think you call it soccer. It's not a sport, it's a religion. So if you play football, you are going to make friends very quickly. If you don't play football, I please beg you to go to one game when actually 2 big English teams are playing. It is amazing. I have never seen something like it. And it's part of experience of a different culture. Similar maybe with what you do with baseball, but it's not quite the same. So please, because Venezuela also baseball is the main one, but here is more intense. And I think it's the only time where Brits really let go. Okay, so it's an amazing experience to see. For anything that any sport you can play, you will find somewhere, and usually with both genders at the university. Now, how can And this is, again, advice from one international student to another. How can society help you to get a job? I'm going to give you an example. It's an extreme example. My example could be helped too, but it's not as clear as this example. A few years ago, we had a student, and he was a Harry Potter fan. Everyone knows Harry Potter? Yes. He started a Quidditch society. When someone told me that, it's like, how do you play Quidditch? We don't have flying brooms or broomsticks. Basically, he took his 8 best friends and divided into 2 teams, 4 and 4, and gave each of them a broomstick. Then, I don't know how, he bought a golden lycra, a body suit of golden lycra, and wore 2 little wings in his head. He was a snitch. So he had to hide in campus, and the 2 teams have to find him and grab him. So, or catch him. You could be on campus having a tea, very English, and suddenly you see 4 crazy people running with broomsticks. And 5 minutes later, a madman in a golden lycra being chased by 8 people with broomsticks. The society in 6 months have more than 500 members. A local newspaper came to interview him, and after the interview went public and went national, American Express called him to offer him a job. The headquarters are in Brighton. He got a job, not because of his grade, not because of his degree, but because he was a leader and he was creative. And this is an extreme example. But for example, if you become the president of the Canadian Society, of the Canadian Law Society, you are telling the employer that you are not only a good student, you are a leader, you know how to organize and manage people. And that gives you a massive advantage when you apply for a job. So yes, be an amazing student, yes, get that amazing grades, but please enjoy the experience, make friends, and join societies. That will make a difference when you come to apply for a job. So campus life, we have absolutely everything you need in a campus. It's like a small city. We have a farmers market once a week. We have festivals and fairs and celebrations, the student unions, which I'm going to talk in a second as well. Plus everything that you imagine to enjoy to make your stay at the university the best possible. We have open mics. Brighton is a very artistic city, and that translates to the university too. We have core centers, and of course, it's a 24-hour security. So it's a very, very safe place. And the UK, like Canada, is very, very safe. We have plenty of support at the university. Any problem you have, we have everything to help you. Okay, counseling, cultural shock, legal problems with housing, everything is there. This is one of the cultural differences, and I'm being very honest with you guys, because it's something that also, for me, it was a shock. In Latin America, and I think the same in Canada, universities handhold you a little bit more. So if you need help, they're always on your case. In the UK, it's not quite like that. Here, you're adults. As such, this is up to you. So sometimes when you talk to people, and outside the university too, you will see the reaction is get on with it. That is a very UK mindset. The university is slightly improving, but you will have, it won't be as switch on as Canada can be. It was the same for me. Okay, but you have Julie, you have me, you have Cassandra, you have Kasia. Anything you need, we're here to help. You will have exclusive email address, which is for Laurier-Sussex as well, that will help you with that. So anything you need, just talk. Do not wait until May to tell us a problem, because the sooner you talk to us, the better it is. And just be aware that the cultural difference will come in that, because that is part of the British mindset. The university facilities, as I said before, is like a small town. You have a 24-hour library. So if you're a night owl and you like studying at night, it's going to be open, and it's like me, and it's going to be great for you if you want to. If you study better at 6 a.m. in the morning, that's fine. The library is going to be open. You have 2 sports centers. You have a supermarket, a student store, a post office. If when you come to study in the UK, you're part of the NHS, which is National Health Service, and you have doctors and a dentistry and a pharmacy within campus. They have the ACA, which is the Attenborough Center of Creative Art, which is a theater and a cinema as well, and the Students' Union, which is a fantastic place, and they organize all the events for the students. All the students' events and on everything that happens in university is very influenced by our city, which is Brighton. Brighton is a very famous city in the UK. That you can see at the very back of the picture. From the university to it's not very far away. You will see here the campus again. So the campus from the city center of Brighton is about 7 kilometers away. That takes about nine minutes on a train, 25 minutes by bus. Brighton is less than an hour away from London and 30 minutes away from Gatwick, which is the second largest airport in the UK, and it has direct flights to Toronto. So it's a very, very easy airport to get to. The public transport here is fantastic. So the buses are 24 hours. So at any time you can come and go to Brighton. And the trains, they start about 5 a.m. in the morning and end about 12 midnight. But it is a great service. Also as well, you're going to be studying with many Europeans. Having Gatwick so close will help you to enjoy Europe, to enjoy. When I was a student, I visited 6 European countries, and I only pay the flight. Okay, my European friends show me the Spain, the Germany, the Czech Republic, the Norway, the Ireland, and the Germany, the true one, not the touristic one. And it's an amazing place. And my last holiday before COVID came, it was to Amsterdam, and from my door to the door of the hotel, it only took 3 hours. Okay, so that is an amazing advantage. Brighton, if that wasn't enough, Brighton, I have been here for almost 20 years, 4 different cities, and Brighton is my favorite city in the UK. It is an amazing place. It's a city of art, of music, of inclusion, of gender. When I moved here, I can be very honest, and I really thought I actually changed countries and I didn't realize. One of the nicknames that Brighton has is Independent Republic of Brighton, because they say those hippies down there are not British. And it's almost that's how it feels. It's a fantastic city to live. It's open, it's by the sea, which is an amazing, for me, it just cheers me up. And it has absolutely everything. It's not a big city, it's about 250,000 students, inhabitants, but it's an amazing city. It's the closest seaside city to London, and for that, it has so much to offer. If you have any friends in London that live in London, ask them which is the best city in the UK, and it's not London. 90% of them are going to say Brighton. So Brighton, as I said before, you have the seafront, which during the summer is the best place to be. You have the city part of the city, which has the old part and the new part, and the old part I love it. It's the lanes, which is a small street where all the local artists are. And it's a fantastic place. This shirt actually is from a local artist, and the city really protects everything that is local. But during COVID, very few shops closed because the city really protects, everything that is created. The more eccentric you are, the more the city will love you. And of course, the countryside. We have a national park, and it's amazing as well. So it's a great, really fantastic place to study. As I said before, this is not just to study law in a great university. This is also to experience a completely different, side than you do not existed before. It's going to change you. You are going to become a world citizen. You're going to see Canada. You're going to miss Canada, but you're going to see Canada from a more kind of, objective look, and things you're going to change, and things you want to love Canada even more so. In my case, it absolutely changed my life. I was when I was a student, and I have hair, and I have an amazing place. You also come from a beautiful country. Take the Brits. They love traveling. I took 7 of my friends to Venezuela, and they had an amazing time. These 3 years are going to change your life, not only because the opportunity that Wilfred Laurier is giving you, because of the cultural exchange, which is going to be amazing. Here I am 20 years later, and still loving it. If you want us to talk to any of our students that are actually studying now at the university, please go to anybody, and they will be super happy to talk to you. If you have any questions, you can contact Julie or lovely Kasia. And at the moment, she's on holidays, well deserved, but she will be back to talk to you and to give you any advice you need. Thank you for this time. If you have any questions, I am super happy to help. We'll be super happy to see you soon enough in Sussex, and good luck.
Thank you, Luis. Just going to go back to my slides. Okay, so where are we now? This is the photo that was taken the last time I was over at the University of Sussex in fall of 2019. This was very near and dear to my heart, and little did we know that would be the last time I'd be over there in a few years. So in this group, there are students who are in both first year at Sussex and second year at Sussex. So many of these spaces right now are actually back here at Laurier and completing year 6 of the program. So our first cohort started in 2016, and they are currently going through year 6 of the program, currently going through the accreditation process and those accreditation exams. So in the last few weeks, they've just completed 2 of the accreditation exams, and they have 3 more coming up. So I look forward to the day when I'm back over at Sussex and getting a photo of our group that's over there now. We have just over 100 students right now over at Sussex in years 1, years 2, and years 3. So it's quite a large group that's there right now. And there's always the question of where are our year 6 students? And I can tell you right now, so they're back here, they're writing exams. And I just actually received an email from one of our students today who had secured an articling position for next fall. And those are always great getting those emails. So as I said, we're just full circle now, going through that full year 6 cycle. Just want to talk about the program highlights and sort of summarize what we've been talking about here for the last 45 minutes. Want to highlight that guaranteed admission to Sussex's GPA requirements are met. And what I've learned over the years, I've been very involved in this program for the past 5 years, is that students, always have the question of, if I meet those GPA requirements, can I for sure go over, or are there only so many seats? Anyone who is admitted to the program and progresses through and meets those GPA requirements will receive that guaranteed admission to Sussex. We see about anywhere between, I want to say 30 to high 40s students go over every fall as part of our program. I think we've talked at length about that support throughout your 6 years. So you're going to get that program support and making sure that we're on track with degree requirements. You're going to get that support with pre-departure and the accreditation process. This program, it's been now in 6 years. I've met a number of students who have studied at Sussex on their own. So I've met Laurier graduates who went to Sussex on their own, have returned here to Canada and are back here and working. And when I speak to students who've done this pathway, but on their own, they talk about how they wish such a program existed when they were a student, because there they completed their degree, then went over to Sussex, and they had to figure out, how do you go about getting a visa? How do I go about landing in a new country and setting up a cell phone? When I come back, how many exams should I write in one sitting? Who can I ask if I have questions about the exams and the curriculum? So that support throughout your 6 years is really going to be something I think that you'll find is quite advantageous to you in your career path. We spoke about at length that international experience, and I would highlight that international experience is not just in the UK, but many of our students travel outside of the UK and take advantage of the breaks over at Sussex. There are breaks between the term, reading week, in the summer, and students really love that international experience, both at the University of Sussex and living in the UK, but also traveling abroad in other countries. It's not uncommon for students to come back to me after they've been there for a few months to say, wow, this has really changed me. I'm very, very different from when I landed here, and the things that I've been able to do. It's just this newfound confidence that students have by having this international experience that stretches them in ways that they really couldn't imagine. We definitely pride ourselves on the strong partnership that we have with the University of Sussex. So as Louise mentioned, there's support with Louise and Kasia and Cassandra and myself, but making sure that our students feel very supported right from when they arrive in the UK. And it's in that very first week where the law school will put on a Laurier induction for the first year students over at Sussex, and they will do an event where the law school will come in with faculty. And it's just an opportunity for the students in the program to meet one another. It's then a few weeks later where the law school and the Canadian Student Law Society hosts an event and they come together. And again, it's a great opportunity for Canadian students to come together and meet each other in the law school. So, I think one of the things that has been really great about this partnership is that it's not as though students are here with us 2 years at Laurier and then we wave goodbye and say, see you in 3 years. The conversations continue when students are over at Sussex. I go over there, Luis and Kasia come over here. So it's really great that this partnership is highlighted, not only, you know, at one institution or the other, but very much throughout that 6 years. So with that, I want to leave some contact information for you. If you have any questions about admissions, please reach out to chooselaureate@wlu.ca. There will be great people who will answer any questions if you have any questions about the admissions process. And last but not least, my email address, if you'd like to reach out, if you have any questions about the pathway, studying here at Laurier, please reach out sussex@wlu.ca. If you want to reach out to Maureen, scienceadvising@wlu.ca, if you have any questions about the honor science piece. And I put Kasia's email here. Kasia is, as Luis noted, off this week, but she works very, very closely in this partnership and hosts a number of different virtual events for our students, and students really get to know Kasia well before they travel over to the UK. So please reach out to her at any point. She would be more than happy to speak with you. There is a session tonight with the Faculty of Science. If you're looking at sort of getting some more information about studying science here at Laurier, it's at 6 p.m. Go online, there'll be a Zoom link that you can get to join that session. This webinar is being recorded and it will be posted to the website probably later this week. So if you want to go back and access any of the information that was discussed here today, you'll be able to rewatch this recording. We do have a BA and LLB recording on our website. So if you were interested also in one of our BA streams, then we do have that recording on our website. So with that, I'm going to open things up to questions and see if there's anything that we can help with. And we have a few minutes left before I know Luis has to pop off. So if there's any questions for Sussex, maybe we'll start there first. Maybe everything has been answered. Just wait a second and see if anything comes through. Luis, anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
No, really. I have to apologize because I have another presentation with Latin America, so I have to run. But it is really, I know it could be scary. I know you could be doubting, but it is, take it for someone who did it and changed completely his life. If you can talk to the Wolf Laurier students who are there, I'm sure Julie can help you to be in contact with them, because you are going to see what an amazing experience it is, not only for the academic part of it between the two universities, is experience, which is no one else can tell you, no one else can give you that. You know, and it will be different than it was to me, what it was to you. But everyone that have done it, think, as Julie says, it completely changes you.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Please reach out to any of us if you have any questions. We would be happy to assist in any way we can. So with that, we will sign off. And again, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your evening.